Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news. Sorry I'm a couple of minutes late, but it is the 8 o'clock show and I did just want to check one thing which I can confirm to you. Bruno Fernandes is starting for Sporting Lisbon tonight in their game which kicks off at 9 p.m. UK time. So a big transfer hint potentially coming in for Manchester United tonight. Look, this will be his last game for Bruno Fernandes at Sporting Lisbon if he's moving to Manchester United in this transfer window, because their next game is next Sunday and the transfer window is closed. So I'll give you all the latest on Bruno Fernandes. There are, as always, there's always some new stuff to bring in, so we'll give you that. But this is the first time I've been live since the I think the last match the last time I was live actually was the match yesterday, the match reaction, and we weren't all aware then of the sad news about Kobe Bryant. Now I don't watch basketball. I don't like basketball. I always hated basketball, and I just don't watch it. But this is a person who is basically the Messi or the Ronaldo of basketball, and he's retired obviously, and now unfortunately he's died in tragic circumstances at the age of 41. And I think that there are people that transcend sport. I don't watch basketball, but I know who Kobe Bryant is. The same way you know who Tiger Woods is. I don't watch golf. This man was a giant of sport, and what this does, and all the other people who are in that helicopter as well, what this does is it just makes you realise that life makes no sense. It makes no sense, and you have to really cherish your health and your life as much as you can, because you just don't know what is through that door. It could be the best thing in the world, it could be the end, and that, I suppose, is life. You just don't know what's going to happen, and it's very sad, and it's amazing how many people who have got no idea about sport or anything like that have been impacted by this today. So I just felt it was important to say something, because the world is saying something about it. Anyway, the United Stand, we go on and we talk about Bruno Fernandes tonight. So Bruno Fernandes is playing for Sporting Lisbon tonight. They kick off at 9 o'clock. This is the last game before the transfer window closes. Does it mean he's going to be coming to Manchester United? Well, as we understand things now, there is a real belief that, as we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, the terms with Bruno Fernandes have been done. The personal terms are done. This is about Sporting Lisbon and Manchester United reaching the deal. And it's been a very interesting day, because David Ornstein used to be on the BBC, very reliable journalist, has said that a deal between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon is at this point a long way from a deal. But this is where, look, if United hadn't spoken to Bruno Fernandes and they're still doing the Sporting Lisbon bit, there's no way this deal's getting done. We know Bruno Fernandes wants to come to the club, and we know that those terms will be done. This is about the deal to get Sporting Lisbon to say, Manchester United, we want to sign you. We will do that deal. And as we understand it, and as we've always understood it, and there has been some murky waters at the time. I think United have tried a few things to force this deal through. I think they've tried to say Sporting Lisbon want 80 million, which was never the case. All Sporting Lisbon ever wanted was £50 million. United won't pay 50 million. United will not pay 50 million. You can speculate why that is, why they'd play 50 million for a young English right back and not for for Bruno Fernandes. Why they'd pay 50 million pounds for Fred 2 years ago and not for Bruno Fernandes, who's far better player CV than Fred did. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I suspect I know why. But the reality is this deal won't get done unless Sporting Lisbon agree to the add-ons. This is all about add-ons. It was 42 million. No. It is now around 45 million with add-ons that will take it to about 60 million. But Sporting Lisbon have got to agree on those add-ons. And to be honest with you, I think Sporting Lisbon, to be fair, are probably bending over a little bit more than they should, because I think they're right to say we want £50 million cash. This is exactly what Crystal Palace did last summer. We've spent 6 weeks negotiating on Wan-Bissaka and they got the 50 million that they wanted. I think we started off around 32 and they got the 50 million they wanted. And I think Sporting Lisbon, knowing we're desperate, probably want us to do the same thing. The problem is United don't have the 50 million. And people don't understand this. And when you say it on social media, they're like, rubbish, look at the revenue, look at this, look at that. Doesn't matter whether Manchester United have got £1 billion to spend. If the Glazers are only giving up a certain amount for transfers for whatever reason, maybe they're selling the club in the future, maybe the club's in trouble, I don't know. But the reality is, it's very obvious that United have got very little money in this transfer window. They're looking for loan deals, which we'll talk about in a moment, but they don't have the money. And that's why the add-ons are important. Now, one of the add-ons that Sporting apparently, and this is coming from Duncan Castles, are concerned about is the Champions League one. Manchester United have said, if we qualify for the Champions League, we'll give you another amount of money. That could be 5 million, whatever. But Sporting Lisbon are saying, well, actually, over the last 6 years, you've only qualified for the Champions League twice. So it's not really a great add-on. At that point, I think that is a fair add-on. But the problem is, I think we're all getting sort of lost in, whether Sporting Lisbon are going to cave in or whatever like that. I just feel from whenever this started, this is on us. This is on Manchester United Football Club. This is on our negotiators really here, because we're not offering the value of the player. So if we get him for £45 million plus 15 million in add-ons, well done. I still think I don't say well done in the fact that you've been right to negotiate this long. I think it's embarrassing how long we've negotiated, because we've needed him for 2 weeks, i.e. Burnley, i.e. Man City tomorrow, hopefully Wolves at the weekend. We've needed him for a long time. To negotiate over 5 million for this long is embarrassing, but we expect that. But he's not worth 45 million. He's worth 50. I think he's worth 50 to 60 million pounds. So this deal could not happen because United can't find the 50 million that bloody Sporting Lisbon want, which will be ridiculous. I'll be furious if this doesn't happen on many levels, but I'll be really furious if it doesn't happen because we don't pay 50 million, which is what he's worth. Like, I don't think there's a person out there that could not say that Bruno Fernandes is not worth 50 million, apart from United. And then it brings you back to what I was saying there. Why are we not paying the 50? Because we haven't bloody got it. So the add-ons are what this is all about. We are not getting this deal done because of add-ons. And the reality is, if we just paid them 50 million, they'd bloody take it. The add-ons aren't even that important in that case. Main Street Barbers Durham NIH says, I've always wondered how information about transfers are created. Are there leaks from the club, or is it just guesswork? It's journalism, mate. It's old stream journalism. Stuff gets fed out. People tell people. Loose lips, basically. There'll be people in Manchester United who are working on the deal who will let stuff out. Let's put the Glazers in midfield, says Sam Ameson. And did you hear about the man ran over in Altrincham at 3 a.m? It was my mum's ex, plus love the channel. Best fan channel ever. Wish I had £100 million to send you. And if you could, who would you bring? Says Best Gifter. Well, look, I hadn't heard about that. I'm really sorry about that. And I presume from that it's not a good news story. So thoughts go out to the man and that story. I don't know anything about it, but that sounds horrible. But look, if I had £100 million, I would sign Bruno Fernandes and. Well, I probably wouldn't get Bruno Fernandes and Ndidi, would I? But I'd go and get Bruno Fernandes and Piatek, because he's got a £43 million release clause. Slimani talks are a bit concerning. Let me just talk about, I don't know whether there's anything else I need to tell you about Bruno Fernandes. Of course, we spoke about the add-ons. He is playing tonight. And, I still think it's going to happen. I still think it will happen. Piers Morgan is a massive cant. With a U, says Irrelevant. I don't know what that's to do with. I think Piers Morgan's quite listenable to sometimes, but I don't know what he's done this time. Jermaine Decray says, last summer ESPN reported that United had only 100 million. We had a net spend around 65 million. It makes sense why we're only offering 40 million plus. Jermaine, quick maths. I tell you what, give Jermaine a clap there. That's something I've not heard before, and he's absolutely spot on. We apparently had 100 million last summer. The net spend was about 65. Hence 40 million to spend now. But the point is that Manchester United was only meant to. We're only looking for loans. That has been out from so many sources that United are only looking at loans in this January transfer window. So look, I do think Bruno Fernandes will get done. I do think that we might see something at the end of this game that really makes this deal look. I hope we're going to see something at the end of this game. So it'll be around 11 o'clock tonight when Sporting Lisbon finish. We should be getting little memes of Bruno Fernandes crying. If we get that, he's gone. We'll still wonder if it's Manchester United or not. But we'll see what happens with regards to that, of course. But I think it will get done. I suppose, look, I'm not always Mr. Optimistic, but I just think that we have a scenario whereby I can't see how you don't do this deal. The club are chanting stuff about the owners. Ollie's midfield is on its knees. He's available for the. I think he's an absolute bargain. I haven't said this, by the way. If we get him for 40 or 45 million or 50 million, I think it's the bargain of the season. I genuinely think he's worth about 60 to 70 million. So if we get him for under 50 million, that's a right bargain. I'm surprised Sporting Lisbon are even open to it. But look, I can't see how we don't do this deal. Everything says it's going to happen, which is probably why it won't. But I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't, but I just can't see how it doesn't. How can it possibly take more than an hour if the clubs are face-to-face talking? They shouldn't be allowed to leave the room until a deal is done, says Connor Brooks. Well, this is what I mean. It's so far apart, isn't it? I'm not doing a watch-along for the Sporting Lisbon game. We did that before, and it ended up in a bloody joke, didn't it? So I'm not going to tempt fate again. Let's have a look at some other transfer news then. Now, look, the striking situation is quite interesting. We spoke about it on Transfer Daily this morning. If we're going to get a striker in, it's going to be on loan. We haven't got the money. We're not going to get anybody on permanent. And they're just not going to happen. So what is available as a striker? Well, I can tell you that with Cavani, some news was coming out today that in relation to Cavani, and I think this was Manchester Evening News, I might be getting that incorrect, but certainly there was a story coming out today that Manchester United are not interested in Cavani because of his wages and his recent injury record, which is exact. I can't argue with United for that, because that's exactly the reason I was like, I don't want to go near him. 33 next month, big injury record, and very expensive. It's not. Cavani's better than nothing. I understand that, but are we not just again jumping from one frying pan into the fire? Because he has been injured 4 times in the last 5 months. He is 33 next week, and we need somebody, whether it's a loan or not, to come in and be fit between now and the end of the season, because Rashford's not. So bringing Cavani in and he does all right and then he's injured for a month, it's a total and utter disaster, and yet you're then paying him 200 grand a week. So if that is true, I think United have made the right decision there. I'm not always going to be negative about some of the decisions United make, and I think we're right to avoid Cavani. What we're wrong to do is not have anything lined up. I mean, it's not rocket science that Marcus Rashford might get a bad injury at some point, especially when he's been carrying so many injuries. We should have been coming into January knowing and having people lined up if Rashford got injured. And maybe we should have got somebody anyway, so that Rashford could have been rotated. It's the fact that we're like, Manchester United have clearly just been, oh, Rashford's injured. Shit, what are we going to do? Like, we didn't expect that to happen. We've got the worst medical staff in the country, and we've been playing Marcus Rashford more than a Duracell bunny. But oh wow, we're really surprised he's injured. So we should have had somebody else lined up. Buster Nut says, confusing how the board cannot see the money we are getting for Pogba. They would rather miss out on a key player that we need to save £5 million on. Muppet Show, says Buster Nut. I've been told by so many people that United don't have much money. How can United not have 50 million when we have offered 40 million odd for Bruno, then put about 30 million on the table for Jude Bellingham, says Jordan Such. Yeah, but that Jude Bellingham deal, I mean, that's gone very quiet now, hasn't it? And I would like us to sign Jude Bellingham, and I guarantee we'll probably miss out on it, but I would like us to sign Jude Bellingham, but I think so much of that deal will be based on add-ons anyway. He'll be loaned back to Birmingham for a year or two probably. So yeah, I don't see that happen. Mark, if worse comes to worse, can't we recall the Piano Man, says Edward Waters. No, Smalling and Alexis Sanchez don't have recall options in their loans. Daniel Gibson says, how about Paco Alcazar, Mark? I've heard the name thrown about. I don't know what his situation is at the moment. I don't know how much game time he's getting. I mean, I spoke about Jovic this morning on the Transfer Daily, if you've not watched it, and a lot of people talking about Jovic, and the reality is he's not actually available. He's been playing a lot of games for Real Madrid. But a player that has been mentioned, I think I actually replied to the person on Twitter. Somebody, Jones, Bleacher Report, was saying that Piatek is an absolute player, and AC Milan are open to loaning him out. Now, Piatek's an interesting one because he had a very good season for Milan last year, and then he's had a crap season this year. And effectively, Piatek is like a Poundland Lukaku. All right, he's not that bad, but basically, outside the box he's atrocious. Inside the box he's pretty good, but he's not been good this season for AC Milan. So he's about 24. He's not quicker than Lukaku. He's not good at as good at dribbling as Lukaku. And I'm not saying Lukaku's a good dribbler, and I'm not saying Lukaku's lightning fast, but he's like, it would be odd to me if Manchester United went and got Piatek in for 2 reasons. 1, we got rid of a player that was better than him in the summer, and 2, this player is not. I know it's better than nothing, but it's it's not the right fit. Like, he's never going to be the right fit. I mean, I know we're probably going to get somebody that's only going to be here for 5 months and then go back, but he's never going to be the right fit. He's not the right player for Manchester United. If you get rid of Lukaku, you don't go looking for Piatek, is what I'm saying. He's got no build-up play. He's not good at holding the ball up. That's not his game. He's a penalty box striker. We don't really do anything with penalty box strikers. So I don't get why we do it, other than it's a body to bring in. But if you do bring him in and you drop Martial and you play him, you've got to play a totally different... What I'm trying to say is that some people say, well, it's better than nothing. But it's not better than nothing, is it? Because it's not. If it's a player that doesn't fit in with how we play, it's not better than nothing. I mean, we know we're a counter-attacking team. Piatek's not a player that plays in a counter-attacking team. He's not going to run the channels and run at people and do it fast. So it doesn't. It might be an option, and he is being linked with it. But he's not the sort of player. And if you're looking at Slimani and Agala, I mean, at the end of the day, if we're looking just to bring anybody in, Flex is all right. You can loan him from United Stand FC. At least he can run the channels and hold the ball up a bit. I'm serious. Anything is possible. Harry, Jesse and Philly scored in the same game. Good goals too, but we need 2 quality players this window for a chance of Champions League, says Jenks 1102. Icy Dead Body says, one thing really baffles me. Are the Glazers that stupid so they don't realise not signing Bruno will backfire with the fans even more? It's just boring now. Well, I mean, look, if and when we do sign Bruno Fernandes, I do think there'll be a lot of people happy about it. And, I mean, look, none so more than me, because I love the player, but they have ruined it a lot. And what I would say is, I don't think this signing now will buy them a load of time. I don't see these songs stopping. I don't see fans being unhappy stopping. And I don't think Bruno Fernandes on his own will stop the inconsistent results that we're getting. And I don't think Bruno Fernandes on his own will stop us being a defensive side that counterattacks. So I want the signing, because I think when the big change comes, then I want players like Bruno Fernandes to be here. And that's why I'm desperate to get it done. But I don't think it's going to change a lot of the problems that United have got. But I do agree that if we don't sign him, it will just make them worse. United have got financial covenants as per their loan to maintain. Thus, they have to keep the net income high and cash liquidated. Thus, they have no money to spend, says we side on White Wayside. And Magic Eye, Mark, you guys really think we're going to sign players when we are still fighting to pay a small fee in comparison? I'm 99% sure we won't sign anybody. That's from Magic Eye. So it is interesting that some people feel like that about it. I mean, look, just a little bit of news that came in. I read it through Sport Witness today. I think it's coming from Italy. And we're looking at, he was PSG's sort of head of transfers. Arturo Henriquez, I think his name is. Formerly of Benfica. Now, a lot of United fans were getting excited about this because it's a director of football. And the story says that he would be brought in to be sort of Manchester United's transfer king. But I tell you what, if you look at social media and you do your research on this guy, he is not badly missed by PSG. PSG fans could not stand him. I think Patrick Kluivert said he doesn't know anything about football. So it would stink of a sort of signing that Manchester United would make, because it would just be another Woodward type who just doesn't know football. So I hope there's no truth in that. There are directors of football that United could go and get from other clubs who are very good at their job. Campo, Mitchell, there are people out there that we could actually go and get who are good at their job. This is the problem we're in, isn't it? It's almost like something is better than nothing. Well, it's not. That's not how Manchester United's mentality should be. If Martial and Rashford and everybody's injured, something's better than nothing. Well, no. Are we not confusing ourselves now? The club and Solskjaer, they constantly talk about the future, but then we're doing stopgap things. Oh, well, at least we've got a director of football now. No, get a director of football who is good at the job. That's what we want to see. Mark, if Cavani is going to Atletico Madrid, would you consider Diego Costa on loan? Premier League proven, says Aidan Healy. I think that's a very good comment. I mean, I don't know how good Costa is anymore, but Costa was the sort of player I never liked, but you would like him to play for you. A bit like Drogba. I couldn't stand Drogba as well. Because they were an absolute bloody nightmare to play against. And, if Costa's got anything left in the tank, I wouldn't mind him coming in for a bit. But I doubt that he has. I would imagine he's sort of... I don't know how old he is, actually. But at least he has got that pedigree and he is Premier League proven. But I wouldn't imagine that would happen, to be honest with you. Fed up of the club taking joy out of every transfer, says GPF 2001. And come on, Mark, buy Bruno. I want to see him in the Premiership, says Amy Assey. Costa is finished, says Illa United. Well, there you go. That's what I suspected. Bruno is playing tonight, says Jenks1102. Yeah, I've already confirmed that. But for those who are joining us a little bit late, please do smash a like on the video, by the way. It'd be interesting to see how that works in relation to Bruno tonight. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at the end of the game. I think if he's there openly sort of crying and saying goodbye to people, then we know he's off, and then the deal is more advanced than people are saying. If he's like, you know, who knows, then the deal may not happen. And I think, you know, at the moment, my summary of the situation is that, look, we can't ignore the fact that some people who have been right about things in the past are saying that the deal's far from done. I think it will happen on Friday. I think if it's going to happen, it's going to go right to the wire. That's what I feel. That's why I would love tonight to see Bruno Fernandes crying and clapping his hands and saying, I'm off, because then you know it might happen before Friday and he might play against Wolves. I mean, he's not playing against Man City, but I want him to play. I want him to sign before Friday. I want him to play against Wolves on Saturday night. I don't want to have to wait till Chelsea away. You want his first game. I mean, United won't think like this, but his first game should be at Old Trafford. His first game should not be an away game against Chelsea. It should be at Old Trafford. If you're going to buy this lad, you want to give him the best opportunity to succeed. And it's not rocket science, is it? Your first game for your club should be at your home ground, where you're going to get all the adoration of the fans, all the confidence of the fans. So, would Zaha not suit Ollie's way of playing, says David Watt? Yeah, Zaha would suit Manchester United, but we can't afford a player like that. No way are we going to look at a player like that. Thanks for the contribution, JK Dowdle. And Progressive Dad says, feels like the Glazers are just playing with us supporters. They're on a massive power trip. How much do fans really have an impact on the Glazers? Well, somebody did say to me today, what if Manchester United are not... what if Manchester United don't spend any money? Does that mean that the Glazers are ready to cut and run and sell and they just don't want to spend any money? I don't know. I don't see the Glazers leaving Manchester United. I don't see that. I don't think Woodward's going to leave Manchester United, and I don't think Solskjaer's going to leave Manchester United anytime soon. I don't. And it's interesting, isn't it, with Solskjaer, because I think we're in this situation at the moment where obviously it's very obvious that the vast majority of United's fan base, you could almost say all of the United fan base, can't stand Woodward and they can't stand the Glazers. They are not popular. That United fan base is always quite divided, fragmented, whatever the word is, but we're not divided on that. Nobody can stand the Glazers or Ed Woodward, and there's good reason for that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, although he aligns himself to them and protects them, he is still on our side, and a lot of people still love Ole, myself included. So, but everything Ole does is backing Woodward and everything. And when Ole said the other day, the structure of the club is absolutely fine, and that was sort of in response to what Mourinho had hinted and what Van Gaal has said. I think I was talking to Flex about this morning, so maybe they'll talk about it a little bit more on the Flex and Rant show tomorrow. But I was saying to Flex this morning, Manchester United, like, who do you trust? Ideal Lukaku replacement, Werner for me, says Darshan Singhvi. Oh yeah, 100%. And Jordan Touch says, Mark, given the time United have been messing around with the Bruno deal now, we are in the last few days of this transfer window, surely Sporting would be more tempted to keep Bruno until the summer, where a club would offer £50 million. Yeah, I mean, look, Bruno Fernandes is not going to stop scoring goals, Jordan, and he's not going to stop getting assists. He'll probably get one tonight. So Sporting Lisbon, it's not long between now and the summer. It's 4 months, and it will fly by. So they could give us Sporting Lisbon could give us Bruno Fernandes for 45 million now with 15 million in add-ons, or they could wait till the summer and take 55 million outright. And I think they might do that. And I think this is the problem. United don't have the money to do the deal. This is the thing for me now. It makes no sense why we can't just give them another 5 million, because we haven't got the bloody money. So unless that changes, I think this is why everyone's saying a deal's not close, because it literally is. Bruno wants to come, United want him, but they can't agree on this deal. And there was somebody saying today, it's quite clear that United aren't that interested in the player if they won't just up the money to what he's worth. I don't think that's the case at all. You don't half-heartedly sign a player for £45 million or £50 million. United do want Bruno Fernandes. They've wanted him for a long time. They just can't bloody afford it. For whatever reason, they haven't got a lot of money net. They've got to generate the money, which is what Lukaku's sale did in the summer to allow us to get Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, as well as the 60-odd million net spend that we spend. And Nabil Fekir, he pulled out signing for Liverpool and it looks like his contract is up in the summer. Your views on that? Also, Bruno watch-along tonight, says Lee Taylor. I'm not doing a Bruno watch-along. I can't do that again. Total waste of time as well, because what if it doesn't happen? You just look like an idiot. BBG Music says, Mark, I love the channel. Keeps me going when I'm travelling for work. Thanks, pal. Thanks for everybody's support. Do smash a like on the video. But what I wanted to just talk about very quickly, scenario. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says there's nothing wrong with the structure of the club. Louis van Gaal, previous manager, says it's not run like a football club. Bayern Munich's got football people in there. Manchester United hasn't. It's run like a business. Jurgen Klopp has said that. And Jose Mourinho has said the structure of that football club is not good. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says it's good. So I was thinking about this. Take away whether you like Mourinho, Van Gaal or Ole. It's not relevant. Just look at that scenario. Van Gaal and Mourinho say that Manchester United is not a well-run football club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says there's nothing wrong with the structure. Okay? Take away all your personal feelings to those players and listen to this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has managed Molde and Cardiff. You walk into Manchester United, you can't help but be in awe of it. His only experience of managing a football club is Cardiff and Molde. I know he played for Manchester United, so he knows how big the football club is, but he never managed Manchester United. So Cardiff and Molde. I mean, let's take Cardiff. His budget, the coaching staff, the amount of people doing different roles would dwarf what Cardiff have got at Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer cannot help but be impressed by Manchester United. He's like a kid in a sweet shop coming from Cardiff and Molde because it's big. And he's got big open eyes. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with the structure here because he's only got Cardiff to measure it against. Van Gaal and Mourinho have managed Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan, even Chelsea. They've not all managed those clubs, but they're some of the clubs that they've managed. They will know that compared to those clubs, we're badly run. And I wanted Van Gaal out and I wanted Mourinho out. But on that, when they're saying United's a badly run club, you've got to take their opinion over Solskjaer, who's only managed Cardiff and Molde. And he's obviously going to be, over exuberant about that. It's just obvious, isn't it? Absolutely obvious. And, look. Yeah, it is. To be honest with you, it's like a couple. Van Gaal and Mourinho, they're like a couple of porn stars walking into a pawn shop, aren't they? They've seen it all before. They've done loads of it. They're going to go for high quality porn. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a relative virgin compared to them, and he's going to be like, I'll have that. Every category. Whereas Van Gaal and Mourinho are going to go, that's no good, because they've got experience. They're porn stars. So I think that's what I think about that. And when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says the structure at Manchester United is good, this is where his lack of a CV is a problem, because he doesn't know what's good, because he hasn't had those resources before. I think ultimately we all know it's a bloody mess at United. Jordan beat this mark if it continues. What? Zane says, Jordan beat this mark. If it continues like this, do you see Rashford and Martial leaving within a year? No, I don't see Rashford and Martial leaving within a year, Zane. I don't. But I do think that we are becoming a club that will start to lose players more regularly. I think for most of my life, we've been a club that players wouldn't leave. We didn't always win titles. We won a lot. But, people like Scholes and Giggs, even Keane. Keane wasn't part of the youth setup. There was players that wouldn't leave. Ronaldo left because he's one of the best players there's ever been, and he always wanted to play for Real Madrid. Very, very different. Van Nistelrooy went because of a fallout. Beckham went because of a fallout, basically. You come to the end of the road. But we never really lost players that we wanted to keep. Now, if you continue to be a bad side, we will become a bit like Liverpool, where people like Suarez and Coutinho, they go. That will happen, but I don't think it'll happen in the next year with Martial and Rashford. But if Rashford gets into bed with Raiola in relation to he becomes his agent, then United have got to worry there. If Bruno did come to Manchester United, aren't you worried that this could the change doesn't happen and he wastes his career there, says Bearded Monkey. No, I'm very selfish, Bearded Monkey, about that. I'm very selfish about that. I mean, like, Bruno Fernandes is one of my favourite players currently. I think he's got potential to be a fantastic player. I think Bruno Fernandes, I think, will be one of the best midfielders in Europe. You could argue that he is already, but he needs to take the next step, whether that's Italy, Spain or England. It's going to be England, I think. And I'm selfishly want him to come to my club because he's a player that I really like. So am I concerned that we could ruin him? Well, we could ruin him, but I'd rather try and have him at our club than not. And obviously the point is this. It's like, I think I said this a few weeks ago. Bruno Fernandes is not a risk. Sean Longstaff is a risk, because does the next manager of Manchester United want Sean Longstaff? No, he's a very weird scouting thing from Ollie and his team. Bruno Fernandes, any manager's going to be happy with him. So I think that's why it's a good signing as well, because whether you're Ollie in or out or whatever, signing players that you know are quality that other managers are going to want to work with is always a good thing. JK Dowdall says, do you think it's likely that we bring Henderson back in the summer and make 200 million plus from the sale of Pogba and De Gea to keep net spend low? Well, you know what? That would you be opposed to that, really? I mean, if we've become, it'd be sad to become that club because our revenues are massive and we shouldn't need to sell to buy. But it could be a way to generate some money, and at the end of the day, we want to spend some money. Pogba's got to go, and De Gea, if he did go, would give Henderson a chance, and then you could use that money. We should not be in that situation, is the answer. We should not be selling players to build a transfer budget. Why is that happening? We're one of the biggest clubs in the world, but it could happen. It's a good point. You should a video showing the state of the stadium, showing another area of lack of investment. Very visual way to illustrate lack of investment, says David Welsh. Yep. Mark, with Spurs close to the Bergwijn signing, it's one that got away for me. We need to react by going for Alcácer, Alcázar, Ziyech and Fernandes, says Rick. Money, isn't it? We're playing like Brazil against Bournemouth, says Amy Assey. I don't know what the score is with Arsenal, to be honest. And what do you think about Malen or Osman? Both performing well for their clubs, both fast and strong. Either would fit well into our current squad, says Archer UK. I'm going to put my hand up and say I don't know much about either of them, so I'm not going to comment on it, but I'm sure other people will. And maybe Pogba doesn't want to be here because of Woodward and the Glazers, says Paul Lucas. Well, he wouldn't be the first. Sergio Danvers says, rest in peace, Kobe and Gigi Bryant. Yeah, we spoke about that at the start. Really, really horrible, isn't it? And Sporting convincing Bruno that 50 million is an insult, says Steak Negs Hernandez. And I think it is. I do think that I've always said that Bruno. The one thing I've always been with United is honest, and on transfers, I said this last summer. Some United fans get very protective about what we spend on a transfer like it's their money. It's not your money. The minute you pay for your shirt or your season ticket, it's then the Glazers' money. And as soon as it's the Glazers' money, they've taken £1 billion out of our club. So I don't care if they spend £100 million on Harry Maguire because it's their money going out of the club. I'm not bothered. I'm really not bothered about it. So what I always do when we're dealing on a transfer and it's taking weeks and weeks is I get frustrated with it because I'm like, if they save $5 million on a deal for Wan-Bissaka or Maguire or whoever, that's only $5 million going to shareholders. It's not going back into the transfer budget. That's not how United works. So last summer when we were bloody pissing about trying to sign Wan-Bissaka, I kept saying it. The videos are there. He's a £50 million right back. If you compare to what Man City have played for people like Kyle Walker, then with inflation and his potential, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a £50 million right back. You pay it. Harry Maguire, I said it at the time, he's a £75 million centre-back. Whatever you say. And with inflation, it's probably 80 million. Leicester, it's a seller's market. Van Dijk from Southampton, 75 million. Nobody knew Van Dijk was going to be the world's best centre-back when that happened. In fact, a lot of people laughed at it. He's an England centre-back. He's England's best centre-back, £80 million. Whether you agree with it or not, that's the fee to play. You can't start saying 40, it's 80. And with Bruno Fernandes, I say the same. £60 million, not euros. So 70 million euros, £60 million is what I think Bruno Fernandes is worth. So if we're messing around 45, then we're messing around. If we get the deal done, you know what? Well done, club. You've saved yourself 15 million. But for me, if this deal falls apart, it's because of Manchester United and their inadequate ability to actually go and get players that we need for the price that you should pay. I feel Pereira is much like the Depay situation, where I think he can play better in another league, had all the technical skills but wasn't able to produce, says Ashu. I think Andres Pereira may well work better on the continent. Whether the continent is Azerbaijan or Iceland, or I'm being horrible really, whether it's Holland, maybe Spain, I don't know, but I don't think he's a Premier League player. I think with Pereira we got it wrong. We loaned him out to Spain twice, and what we should have done, instead of the second one sending him to Valencia, we should have sent him to Everton or Bournemouth. That's where he should have gone on loan, because we're basically trying to develop him in the Manchester United first team, and he should have had a loan in England. That was poor from the club. To loan a player that you're going to give a chance to foreign leagues. Why? It's not the league he's going to play in. He'd be better off in the Championship. Look at what Chelsea have done with their players. So, yeah, that's definitely how I feel about that. Why not send Sporting one of the kids on loan for the rest of the season as make weight, says Krishma Vathian. I think we tried to do that. I think we tried to include Pereira. I think we tried to include Rojo. We tried to include Angel Gomez. And none of them wanted to go. So, you know, what are you supposed to do? Why do we leak a lot of goals with the investment, says Darshan Singhvi. Defending's a team game, though, isn't it? Defending is a team game. And, you know, you can have a really good back four and a really good goalkeeper, but if your midfield's not good, you're going to get runners breaking through, aren't you? So you defend as a team, and I think United are struggling at doing that. But I think it's going to be an interesting week for United. Very interesting. One of the most interesting weeks we've had in a long time. Man City on Wednesday, Wolves on Saturday, transfer deadline day Friday, and all the days that come before it. I mean, we've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference tomorrow. We'll be live for that just after 10 o'clock, so make sure you join us for that. And obviously I will go live tonight if there's going to be anything to discuss after this Sporting Lisbon game at 11 o'clock. But smash a like on the video, of course. And I did do a Man City Manchester United preview as well. I think if you click the eye in the top right hand corner, you can go and watch it after this. It's only 10 minutes long. So go and give that a watch. Interesting about the three at the back chat, if you want a bit of actual football chat, which I think we need to get back to. I'll be glad when this transfer window shut, to be honest with you. Ashu says, Pogba not being injury free and inconsistent, there is a chance like De Gea deal to Real Madrid. It may not happen. He is cautious about himself, and it could be a problem. That's why he wants to keep a strong hand. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Would you take a risk on Goats, 26 with experience, as Lee Taylor? If we could get him on loan, I would. I don't mind a loan deal. I like a loan deal where you get somebody in and see how they are, and maybe you bring them in. I mean, look, James Rodriguez is still available as well. Like, you wouldn't need James Rodriguez and Bruno Fernandes though, so I'm sort of talking nonsense there. But look, just get Bruno done. Bruno's brother is in the UK. He's out on Insta, says Johan. I don't know what that means, because it's not his brother who is his agent. It's his brother-in-law, I think. And I think something telling will happen in that Sporting Lisbon game tonight. I'm hoping so. I think we'll get it done. I've said that for a while. The personal terms are done with the player. United want the player. We're very, very close. I think we'll get it done. Not going to sign anyone of quality on loan, says Jim WH. I do agree with that. Can I just finally say as well, there's a link in the video description for Rance's Just Giving page. He's got a boxing match at the start of March. Again, he's raising money for charity for it, the Australian fires, and also his normal homeless charity as well. So if you can support, please do. The link is in the video description for that. Check out the details for it. And do give what you can, because it's a really important cause. And, you know, obviously he raises his money by doing the boxing. So if you want to get down there, you can get to that. But also just support Rants on that. Links in the video description. That would be appreciated. And I can also tell you as well, I did say yesterday that the date for the Dublin get-together is going to be the 26th of March. I've just realised that on the 26th of March, Republic of Ireland are playing Slovakia in a Euros qualifier, so we won't be doing it on that date. I think it's going to be the 2nd of April now. I've just got to confirm that, and then we'll start telling you where it's going to be so you can sort it out. But it will be a free event in Dublin, in the centre of Dublin, so I'm looking forward to that. What would be more embarrassing, getting a gala or not getting Bruno, says Jordan Such. Knowing United, they'll probably do both. I think we'll get Bruno done, and I hope that we will. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and we'll be back in the morning for the press conference reaction at 10 a.m. And of course, if anything happens later tonight with Bruno, we'll do a video on that as well. See you soon. Thanks for watching, and do give what you can for Bruno, for Rancer's GoFundMe. The link's in the video description, and you can check out the preview right now by clicking the eye in the top right hand corner and going through the homepage. Man City preview. It's only 10 minutes. I'll speak to you all soon.